Yay, we all made it back in one piece. I always feel a little relieved when all the faces come back after we've launched ourselves from the green room. Yeah. So come here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see your faces on a Friday afternoon. And I can see everyone flooding into the room there, making themselves known. So hi, everyone. Fair play. Good to have you here. Look, most people attending know right well who I am, but I'm probably the least interesting person on the panel this afternoon. I think our team from McAfee are going to be keeping really busy today. So look, just a tiny bit of housekeeping before we get started. This is being recorded, so please remember that this can be reviewed in the hub over the next couple of days. We've shared links because we are talking about recruitment today, and we do have open roles. So those links, we'll share them in the chat, but they're also in our job alerts on Slack. So everybody who's here can go back and forth and check them out afterwards. But look, other than that, let's go around the house. Let's introduce ourselves. And then, Sarah, you're going to lead the way with some really nice presentation. So will I start with you? You can introduce yourself, and then we'll go from team member to team member.
Thank you very much, Jane. It's such a pleasure to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I work in talent acquisition and human resources in McAfee. And we're so excited actually to be here and have this direct conversation with graduates and students from the Coding Institute. And it is a chance for us to talk about the jobs and our interview process, and we're so happy to be here. Over to you, Niamh.
Hi, my name is Niamh Minahan. I've worked in McAfee for about 6 years, and I'm a data scientist on the data scientist team here. And so working on machine learning, visualizations, statistics, all that stuff.
This is Srini. I joined McAfee 1 month back as a senior manager heading up the data platform. I've worked on a lot of data warehousing, data projects, big data projects using AWS and Azure. So we are excited to present you the opportunities which are there in our organization.
Hi, and I'm Eric Thibault-Georges. I joined McAfee about a month and a half ago as a senior cloud architect, and I'm going to talk today a few minutes about what a great company it is and why you would want to, why I chose McAfee and why you would want to choose McAfee.
Yeah, and my name is Jared. I'm a principal engineer here at McAfee, part of the AI research team. And I've been at McAfee for about 9 years. My background is machine learning and data architecture. And yeah, just looking forward to talk to you guys today. Try to sell you on McAfee. Cool.
So I'll just start the presentation, Jane, and okay. We'll take you through the agenda that we have.
There we go. Yeah.
So we do have an agenda for how that discussion will go. So we there is a part on our company and the culture in it, and what is our performance currently and what we're proud of in terms of products and revenue. And then we'll have an overview on the engineering function, which Jared will speak about. And then Eric will share with you why he chose McAfee. And then we'll talk about the jobs that we have and the process of the interviewing and some tips on how to interview with us, what we're looking for, why we actually do some of the things that we do in the interviews. So please, if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask and keep it conversational as much as possible, so we don't get bored. So just a quick update on McAfee. So we recently sold our enterprise business and we became a fully consumer product company. And we've been invested in by Advent and Premier, which are an investor group, and they paid around $14 billion to buy McAfee, which is a great investment, and we're very happy that it's happening. And although the company now, there are a lot of changes and a lot of new things happening. And despite it is an established company, it feels very much like a startup, and it has a huge room for innovation and for new ideas and new things to happen. So it is a great time to join McAfee now because of all the exciting things that we'll be willing to launch and so on. And of course, we're focused on. So this slide wasn't working, so we'll move ahead to the following slide, which I will leave for Niamh. Just one last thing. So we're focused mostly on protecting customers and all their loved ones. So this is at the core of everything that we do, and this was the gist of our vision and mission. So Niamh, if you would like to go ahead, I'll be very happy.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to speak a bit about our values and working remotely. So our values, first of all, every customer is important to us and they're at the core of what we do here at McAfee. We also innovate without fear, which means we don't hesitate to try something new. We practice inclusive candor and transparency. So what that means is making sure to give and receive feedback. That's very important, and communicate clearly with respect. And then we also achieve excellence with speed and agility, and we play to win or we don't play. So over the last few years, we've been working remotely in McAfee, and there are a lot of benefits to that. Saving on costs, travel time. Depending on where you live, you could have more peace and quiet where you're working, but we also have opportunities to meet up with our colleagues as well when we want to. So every month there's a market meetup that we can go to, or there's different events. There's a sports and social club in McAfee that you can join, and there's many events such as bowling, other nights out, organized by Sports and Social that you can attend. So although we're working remotely, we still have the opportunity to interact with colleagues. Okay, so slide. Okay, so I just want to speak a bit about life at McAfee and speak about some initiatives that I've been a part of while working here. So the first one is the McAfee Global Green Campaign, which is about basically about the environment, and some of the things we've done as part of that. We did a beach clean, and there's actually another one next week as well. So there's some pictures on the slide there showing the rubbish that we collected on the beach. Then we also organised an event for everyone in McAfee to attend, where we showed some environmentally household swaps that they could make, and we also had a speaker there from Down to Earth Materials to speak about what their company does. The next on the list is WISE, which stands for Women in Security. This is this is a kind of like a society, I guess, that you can join at McAfee, but it's open to everyone, not just women. And some of the initiatives that we did as part of that, there was for 1 year for International Women's Day, we had a fundraiser for local women's charities, and we had a speaker come in from a local women's shelter to speak to everyone, and then just general fundraising and donations as well, like clothing donations that we collected for that. Also, as part of WISE, I was able to attend the Women in Technology event in Dublin 1 year. So that was really interesting for me to be able to attend that. Also, WISE also set up the Toastmasters Club for McAfee. Again, open for everyone to join. So Toastmasters, I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's a club that you practice public speaking, but it's actually it can be quite fun. It's not like you're at work. It's during work time, but it's not like you're at work. You're just talking about whatever you want, really. But you get to practice your public speaking when you're there. Another initiative is the McAfee Culture Club. So there's been a lot of things that have been done through that, but just an example of one of them is 1 year for charity, we set up a market where people in the office were able to bring in food from their own countries and their culture, and then we sold them then in the office to raise money for charity. So that's just one example. Another year for Diwali, some people in the office made food for everyone for one lunchtime, which was a really great event as well. And then the last one there, Global Community Service Day. It's a day we do every year where everyone in McAfee can get involved and help local charities. The beach clean next week is part of that, but there's a lot of other events as well, including working with Cork Simon and various other charities as well. Yeah, so that's that.
Guys, any questions? Do ask any questions.
Not yet. They'll be coming, don't worry.
Okay, so just a brief bit about McAfee. So McAfee is a leading online protection company, strives to make life online safe and enjoyable for everyone. So we deliver comprehensive protection to safeguard people's privacy and identity. And basically, just some information about McAfee. We have almost 2,000 employees, over 100 million customers. We're in 182 countries. We have it's all on the slides there, but we have over 200 threat researchers. We discover 784 new and unique threats per minute. And then we're also a market leader as well.
Niamh, isn't that amazing? 784 new and unique threats per minute.
Yeah.
Quite scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then just more on the market leader. So McAfee is continuously tested, certified, and recommended by the world's most reputable specialized anti-malware test labs. So that includes AV Test, AV Comparatives, and SE Labs. So that's, I don't know if you have any questions, but that's the end of my part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Niamh.
Thanks, David.
– Toastmasters has served you well, Niamh. Yes. Cool. Okay. So today, guys, I want to give you a very high-level overview of what engineering looks like at McAfee, and just to focus in on how we use big data to solve problems in cybersecurity. Right. So my background is machine learning, big data. That's my slant, and I want us to consider, and we heard from Niamh, we have over 100 million customers. Right. So what does it take to protect over 100 million customers every day? Think of the things that we actually need to put together, the solution we need to build, and maybe to talk through some of the teams, the functions that we actually need to support that. So just down the bottom and maybe obscure there is, the client technologies, right? So these are the teams responsible for actually building the software that's going to be on your laptop, that's going to be on your mobile phone, and this is, among other things, people like C++ engineers, kernel developers that are building, the technology to identify new threats, to protect customers, and to interface then with our kind of the cloud systems or back-end systems. So that's client technologies. Then in the cloud, we have the the threat intelligence cloud platform, and this is a high availability service for supporting machine learning APIs, threat intelligence APIs, and that interfaces with our software, to, again, protect our customers. So we have kind of real-time analysis, real-time update, and we can track what's happening in the field, and we can actually protect our customers on emerging threats. So then, talking a little bit about kind of the back end, we have like the data platform team, right? And you'll hear from some of the guys, Eric and Srini, who are part of the data platform team, and they're, they've built a platform that's going to support machine learning and analytics at McAfee, right? And that's support this kind of back end ecosystem that we need to kind of protect our customers. So on the back end, we have kind of a threat research and automation, where we have, malware researchers that are, investigating emerging threats, developing content, running millions, literally millions of samples through sandboxes to identify new threats and develop content, signatures, etc. We also have machine learning and analytics teams, right? So these are teams of data scientists, machine learning engineers, data engineers working on developing machine learning models, analytics, looking at tracking efficacy of our technology, tracking emerging threats, and all the analytics that you can imagine goes into like protecting, again, 100 million customers. Okay, so we're constantly hiring in across these areas, and you'll hear about some of the recs we have open today. In cybersecurity, what's interesting about it is that it's an adversarial environment, right? So we are pitted against cyber criminals, people who are trying to outmaneuver us. So it's an evolving landscape. So we're constantly needing to innovate, constantly needing to adapt. If you're static in this industry, if you're not innovating, you are dead in the water, because the bad guys are going to outsmart you. That's kind of one of the interesting things about this industry, and that's why it attracts people who are kind of into lifetime learning, continually updating their skills, and there's not a dull moment. There's always something new on the horizon that you're trying to beat. So that's kind of high level. Some of like the engineering functions here are getting focused on the data side, and what I would just say to people looking at careers in big data, there's lots of different careers, different job titles. There's data scientists, we have data engineers. A lot of these job titles are new, kind of emerging, and what we tend to have is people from a variety of backgrounds getting attracted into this industry, both data and like cybersecurity. People who are software engineers by trade, people coming in from physics background, maths background, statistics, many different backgrounds. But what kind of brings them together, or a common trait, is really bringing their technical expertise, their experience, but just being good problem solvers, right? Rising to new challenges, being curious enough to actually take on problems, and even go outside their comfort zone sometimes. And that's kind of the one piece of advice I have for people who are like early in their careers is, you're not limited to do the things that are associated with your job title. So if you're a data scientist, if you're a good coder, right? If you're a data scientist, if you're a good coder too, you're going to do better. You're going to be able to overcome things that get put in your way, more so than people who aren't good coders. And the same kind of applies for engineers. If you're an engineer and you're looking at big data, if you have a background in maths, some statistics, you're gonna fare better. So it's going to give you like an edge. So I would just say to people, just to be open to again, branching out, taking on new challenges, trying new things, and if you're interested in cybersecurity, if you're interested in big data, there are many problems in this sphere in cybersecurity at McAfee and similar companies, and it's a fun place for people who are into these types of challenges. There's many problems to do, and yeah, so that's it. So if there's any questions we have on this slide before we move on.
We do have a lot of questions actually, Jared.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll take them in order, oldest to newest. So one question, with the threats that are discovered a minute, how do you manage to keep up with an ever-changing scenario, as in what customers need to be protected from? That's one question.
Yeah, so it's a good question, right? How do you keep up with an evolving landscape, right? Where there's new threats, and we have a very complex ecosystem to handle this, or to try to cope with this evolving threat landscape. So if you can imagine the architecture shown here, where we have clients in the field, software in the field, that are sending up real-time data into the cloud, right, about new events that are occurring, features about different files, and then on the back end, we're processing this data. We're looking for anomalies. We're looking for new interesting things, and we have a huge amount of automation, machine learning, in the background, trying to keep up with the emerging threats. And there's to talk specifically about how we handle threats, there's kind of two main approaches to threat protection. One is kind of old school signature development, which is still very prevalent and important. This is where we actually look for signatures, right, of files, of threats, etc. And this can be through automation or through through actually manual effort to actually find signatures of threats. And that's how you kind of deal with the bulk of stuff, right? And this is kind of maybe historical threats, or even threats that are like a couple of days old. And then dealing with like brand new threats, things that have never been seen before. How do you handle that, right? How do you handle something that's never been seen before, 0 days? And what we do here is we have machine learning, where we try to find features that are similar to threats that we've seen in the past, either static features, dynamic features, and that's really how we deal with 0 days, right? We're trying to capture enough samples, try to capture enough information that we can actually handle new 0 days threats, things like that. Cool.
We do have a question on the remote working. I'll get to that in the later slides. Then there is a question of, are there any cybersecurity courses or study that you would recommend?
Cybersecurity courses? Yeah, so it really depends. There are people can do master's programs in cybersecurity. Also, typically the online courses are pretty good, even Coursera, things that are commonly available. My background is in machine learning, data science, so I wouldn't even call myself a cybersecurity expert. But there's a lot of information out there, and I think just for anyone, it's always kind of, again, interesting that you can actually step outside your speciality and learn new things. But there's no specific course that I can mention, though.
Jane, do you want to go ahead and share the rest of the questions? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. So you're on mute, Jane.
Thanks, Sarah. There's a couple of questions there that maybe I think will be better placed for a little further along, just when we're talking about the recruitment processes and career paths. But there was another good one there from Rodolfo also around just I suppose just the environment internally in McAfee around migrating, training when you're being onboarded, and moving from different areas. So starting as a software engineer or a developer and then moving into data analysis. How do you, such a big business, it's probably hard to give a simple answer to that, is it?
Yeah, and so there are many different functions and teams, and as I laid out, it requires multidisciplinary teams to actually come together to actually solve these problems. So like we do have people come in and they may start as, for instance, a software engineer, and then find their way into data science. And there is a path for that. For people who are like problem solvers, who are eager, there is a path. I came into McAfee, many years ago as an engineer, right, building like cloud engineering systems, and then became, more of a data scientist, machine learning expert. And that's true, self-learning, but the doors are open, so for people who are curious, the doors are always open, and McAfee will always make an effort. If you want to join a different team, no one's going to block that, right? If you want to look at different positions, you're able to apply internally and go for them, and your manager will work with you to kind of grow into that role if it's something new.
Yeah. I mean, look, internal mobility is something that it works very much on both sides, doesn't it? There's rarely a resistance if somebody has the appetite and is committed to it.
There's no winners. There's no winners if you put up resistance, because if people want to excel in their career and you block that, they're going to go elsewhere. They're going to go somewhere where they can do that, And if you someone that really is curious, really wants to do something, they're going to excel when they go for that,
Exactly. Okay, so will we go in and have a look at I think the next slide, Sarah, is to do with the individual roles that you're hiring on?
Yeah, it's myself.
Eric. Oh, hi, Eric.
Hi. Hey, so so I joined McAfee about a month and a half ago. I think it was the week after Paddy's Day. And so don't ask me any questions about how life is after 2 years in McAfee, because I wouldn't be able to answer that. But Jared obviously would be very well placed for that. But I can give you my first impressions. And first, it's great to be able to work for a company that's well recognized everywhere. Like my previous company, if I told you I worked for JCI, probably none of you would have heard of it, and none of you would know exactly what this company does. But when I tell my friend, I work at McAfee, like they all know, oh yeah, I know exactly what it is. And you can tell pretty much anyone in the world, I work at McAfee, and it's a great security company, like we know that, antivirus, blah, blah, blah. So it's great for working for something that's like a company that's internationally recognized. It's really a good setting point and a discussion point as well with your friends. Then the technology is amazing. So Jared was telling you about AI, ML, and so on. It's all cloud. It's all AI, ML, big data. So we're talking about petabytes of data. We are working on some data lakes. So we're using all the latest technologies. We work in the cloud on AWS mostly. And really, technology-wise, if you like tech, it ticks all the boxes. It's a really, really interesting set of technologies, and you're going to work on some really cool problems and basically work on developing interesting solutions. So it really ticks all the boxes, like tech-wise. And if you want to work on the client as well, obviously, we have people working on the C++ in the kernel or very close to the kernel. So we have really the full range of like tech jobs. And then you have the pride that your product is going to be used by millions of people. Before that, I was working on some products that nobody would have heard of, on stuff that's hidden behind the cloud or whatever. And here you're going to work on the product, the antivirus that I don't know how many millions of people around the world have. So it's a product that everybody uses, and they know exactly what you work on, and you can tell them exactly what you do. We're basically working here on optimizing the antivirus, making sure it detects all the new threats, zero-day exploitations, and so on. So it's it's something really cool. And obviously we're working on improving the security for the users. I mean, all the laptops, all your desktops, everyone's PC, everything is attacked permanently. As soon as you connect to a Wi-Fi, as soon as you go to a website or whatever, your PC is going to be attacked permanently. And we're working on improving the security for all the end users. So that's something really that we can all be proud of here. And one thing I learned actually that obviously I didn't know before joining is that it's an amazing team. I mean, I've worked for over 25 years in total. And like the team here in McAfee is a really, really strong team. And it's a diverse team. My boss is in the US. I work with people in the US. I work with people in India. So people all around the world. And it's like everybody is very strong. And it's actually quite a flat org. I mean, we're in the meetings with the CTO regularly, and the CTO is very like a tech savvy, and he's all about numbers and so on. So he will challenge you into basically doing a better job as well. So it's really like from the bottom up and top down. It's really an amazing team. And also, even though it's a big enough company, it feels more like a startup. It doesn't feel like at all like a big corp where you basically everything is hidden behind processes or whatever. It feels more like a startup, and with a very quick reactivity and so on. Our sprints, for example, are 1 week, so we work very, very quickly, and we aim to basically provide very quick return. So it really feels like a very dynamic startup and not like a sluggish big corp. And there's a lot of cool stuff. So Neve already talked about a good few of these. So we work from home. We have lunch and evening meetups. We have a community day next week, actually. And we have also TED Talks where people, like internal TED Talks, where people can present whatever subject, whether it's tech or non-tech. So I'm going to do one in the next few weeks on root cause analysis, for example. But it could be many different people talking about various, like either technology. It could be security related, could be maybe not, or it could be something, I don't know, like brewing your own beer at home, for example, which I do, by the way. And that's it. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. It's interesting what you're all saying around the how quickly things happen, and it's particularly that's really unusual, isn't it, for a company so big, for that still to be the environment, which is pretty unusual. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic company, actually. Yeah.
Will I jump on to the next slide? Who we got? Okay.
Yep. This is Srini. I'm a senior manager of software engineering, trying to hire freshers, 3 freshers, and 1 senior data engineer. So as you guys know, there is a tsunami of jobs in the market. But to get into McAfee, we have made your path quite easy, in the sense there are only 2 rounds. One is a coding test round, another is a general tech come HR round. So it's very easy to enter. So there are a tsunami of jobs, but there is a complexity of the HR tech number of rounds. That also it becomes a pain for the guys who are trying to enter. So we have made it very simple now. So only 2 rounds. And the second thing is, since most of you are freshers, I believe, freshers in this industry, not in their career, but so they would not have decided like whether I want to do cybersecurity or I want to do like Jer said on machine learning, AI, or like architecture, like Eric. So if you have not decided anything, so what that also is not a problem. So the job openings which we have requires you just basic skills in Python, basic skills in SQL, basic skills in REST API. So if you can do if you can pass a simple coding test in Python, simple which involves SQL as well, you are through. So what I'm trying to say here is we have made your path very streamlined as best as possible, and we are constantly improving that. So yeah, so it is very straightforward. Even if you have not done a deep certification in, let's say, in cyber security, doing offensive security, or you have not done a OWASP, no, don't get scared about that. Just if you are good in Python, you have downloaded some code in GitHub, you have modified that and did some small projects in Python, and you can change JSON, and you can call a REST API, write some SQL, joining 5 tables, 10 tables, and you can write some queries. That's enough. So we are looking at fresher level graduates. And the senior data engineer, that is another position which we have, wherein we are looking at experience on scalability, a little bit architecture, DevOps, cloud skills, deeper cloud skills. So any questions? I think.
So there's some there in the chat again. So what is good question for are you the hiring manager on this, Ronnie? You are, aren't you? Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the biggest differential factor that a fresher could have on their CV or in their interview that would spark McAfee's interest, or I suppose your interest particularly because you'll be making
like his ability to write SQL code, his ability to write Python programs. So we are not looking at extensive Python language. Python using data wrangling with Python, using Jupyter Notebook or whatever, or in his PyCharm or idle. But he should be able to manage, do data analysis with Python, as well as build some data pipelines using Python. And apart from that, the core skill is SQL. So
okay.
So, I would say, this is the job spec for like the cloud data engineers, and there's a few roles, but like we're looking for people 0 to 2 years experience, right? So these are people who are graduates, people who are early in their careers, and he or she, like, look, there's only if you can hit the points on this slide, right? If you know SQL, if you're confident enough with SQL that you could go in and you could do technical question or Python, you're doing well, right? You'd be surprised. A lot of people come in and even like the basic technical questions that are like listed on this spec, they might struggle. So having like just the basics, a good foundation, like what we look for is people who are solid in these skills, show that they have an aptitude for learning, an interest in it, right? That they want to come on board, and that they're hungry to learn more, to grow, because these are graduate roles. People, we expect people to be growing into them. So if you can show that, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape.
What will it, just to get an idea of the first couple of weeks or months, what's it like for somebody coming in like this, as maybe stepping into their first role? They are fresher.
So you will not be thrown into the deep water. There are guys like Eric, Jer, and there is another senior data engineer who has already joined. But we are hiring another senior data engineer. So we have 3 competent tech guys, pure tech guys who can help them. And it is not production support or something like that, wherein you are directly into firefighting mode. So we are trying to build a data platform / data lake. So there is a lot of discussions going on every day. You will not write programs, okay? So don't get scared that you will write hundreds of programs now. So you will write programs, you will write SQL, but at your own, at a quite a leisurely pace. But the only thing is that, as Jess said, you should have interest. So like we are asking questions in some of the interviews, like they don't know what is the difference between a list and a dictionary. So that shows that like they are putting something in the resume, but they have not even written 10 programs. At least 10. We are not asking, like at least you should have written at least some 3 projects, 2 projects. Small projects.
So there's obviously a real deep understanding there that this is early careers role, but there's certain fundamentals that need to be there, but very motivated, and I suppose the correct next steps will be catered for by in a really experienced team.
And when you are giving this test as well, we will be there. It's not that the test will automatically give a 0 or a 20, or it will, the online testing tools, how they automatically run test cases and give a 0 or 20. But we will handhold them, and we will score it. The only the platform will they will enter the code in the platform, but ultimate scoring will be done by us, and in front of them itself. So it is very transparent in that sense.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And then if we look at the interview process, then you mentioned it's a 2 rounds. So that's really quick.
Yes.
Does it start with a tech test, or is that the second round?
No, that's the second round.
The second round. Okay. So the first round is a more traditional sort of competency-based conversation. Okay. And
I'll get into the details of these
okay, sorry.
the latest slides.
Okay, perfect. There are a couple of questions there, but I think maybe they might be for you, Sarah, just more around the interview process and just the best people to apply.
Yeah.
So any questions on data engineers? So then we'll move to the next one on C++.
Okay.
Any questions then? Shall we pick up some questions?
I think that they were the main ones. There was just there was a couple there around locations and applications. So guys,
location, it is flexi working. I think this needs to be added. It is flexi working in the sense, even though we say that it is 9 to 5, but you can start at 10, work till 6, or you can take a 2-hour break, because US guys they wake up at afternoon, right? So 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 that will be busy. So that flexi works is working is also a very nice part of working for a US based MNC. So it comes automatically. So you can have your family life as well as you can take your kid to swim, and then you can again log in. So that's fine.
to freshen you up at the start of the day. But this is Ireland only, isn't that right? Because I know you do have roles advertised in other
it's
regions,
Ireland only, and right
team,
now it is and somebody asked, is it remote forever? No, it is not remote forever, but for the time being, for a long time, I think let's say another 6 months. Am I right, Sarah?
We're actually fully remote now, Srini, and with no with no foreseen future for going back to the offices. We even do not have an actual office in Cork anymore. It is only used for IT
for the enterprise business. We are in the consumer business, and that is another trump card which is very attractive for everyone. So like Apple became big with a direct focus on consumer business. So like McAfee is another example which is focusing only on consumer business. That's why it was so much prized when it was bought by a venture capital. So that's the next market to capture, you can say like that. Consumer business, everybody has 5 or 6, each person has 3-4 devices, and a family has 20 devices, and there is a threat at home itself. So that's the market. McAfee
it's a strong business. I mean, the consumer side, there's been lots of change over the last year or so. McAfee used to have an enterprise business, and the company split in two essentially. So we're all McAfee, focused on consumer. Lots of change, but it's actually a lot of positive change, I would say. So we're kind of laser focused on this segment of the market, and there's a huge opportunity, right? So that's interesting in itself. And just to make it absolutely clear, as Sarah said, we are a remote company in Ireland at least, right? So there is no office, and that doesn't suit everyone, sure, but for many people, that's an attractive offering, that this is an opportunity to kind of work from home kind of indefinitely. That suits many people. It certainly suits me. I'm down in West Cork. I plan to stay here, and for other people too, that might be a selling point. But it's good to call it out because it's. Yeah.
And another also part of this is that we have no restriction on like for you to work in Ireland, your contract will be on the Irish legal entity, which means that you have to be in Ireland for as long as you don't have tax implications. Other than this, you can work from anywhere in the world. So if you want to go have a couple of months working from another country, you can do that. As long as there is no tax implications, we have no restrictions, and we're extremely flexible in that matter.
Yeah. Gosh. Things have really changed, haven't they?
Yeah, it really has.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, gosh. Okay, look, I know we still have a couple of things to get through. So we look. So this is the senior role, isn't it? The cloud data engineer role.
This is the 0 to 2 years junior role. I have not put the senior role, but senior role essentially has a little bit more data architecture, cloud skills, DevOps. So that's what we are looking at.
Okay.
Also, Jane, the links in the bottom of the slide are the links to both jobs, the senior and the junior. So.
Perfect. I shared those earlier as well. And just to remind anyone listening, I have them in the chat, and you can find them later on when this session has ended. They're in the job. We have an internal channel and job alerts where people can find them easily. So
don't get scared with the big job description and all. We are just focusing on these 3 skills: SQL, Python, REST, API. If you can, if you have done that work at least for 6 months, that's it. You will get the job.
There you go.
Yeah. Sold.
Okay, first person with their hand up. So do you? There was a question there just around the dates and when these roles. When is there a closing date currently for applications? So just to give people a sense of.
We're trying to fill them ASAP.
Okay. Okay.
With this tough job market, we are sweating it out. To get, otherwise the candidates need to sweat, but here we are sweating it out. But we have made the process streamlined just to make it much easier for the candidate. But we should get the right candidate with at least a minimum skills. We are just talking about basic skills. Yeah.
And if we don't fill them, you'll still see the ads on our website. So if as long as they're on the website, that means that that we're still hiring for the roles. So.
Okay, perfect. Okay, but don't delay, basically, because Sarah's on the case. You're going to be processing these applications very quickly, and okay, and obviously it sounds like decisions get made quickly with you guys. Okay. So is this the last slide, or do you want to talk about the recruitment process?
Yeah, there are some other job openings.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Okay.
We can just touch on it very briefly. So the Srini and Eric, they're looking for cloud engineers, right, for the data platform. But there are other opportunities there. So I advise people just take a look at the careers page for McAfee. If you're interested, maybe you have friends that are interested, and there's other hiring going on. So for instance, we're looking for C++ engineers, people who have some experience C++. This would be to build like the client technologies, the software that actually runs on your laptop. So there's engineering roles, there's just test roles, SDET roles. So it's worth taking a look. Maybe cloud isn't for you, big data. There may be something else there that's worth considering. So that's all I have to say on that. So we can go over to you, Sarah. You have some,
So in terms of the process, our process overall, regardless of the job, our process is very streamlined. So I work for many companies, and this is the quickest hiring process I've seen in all my experience, honestly. So we try to be as quick as possible and as engaging as possible in the process. Like we usually have discussions with the candidates between steps, and we catch up with them on how they feel, and it is a very engaging process if you want it to be engaging. And it's objective, it's challenging. If you like a technical challenge, the process that we have a lot of technical challenges, and they actually our discussions pick your brains as an engineer, which is a common feedback that we get from candidates, which is also great, and it is an opportunity for you to understand more about the team, the role. So take it as an opportunity for you to know also about the company and about the requirements that we have and so on. And it is adapting. So we adapt it according to the job. Like we're not a company that would ask everyone to go through 5 interviews and they're all, and it's the same process for everyone. It's not rigid at all. We can adapt it according to the candidate, according to the job that we're interviewing for. So it is a very it's actually the most agile process I've seen in recruitment. And usually it's if it's not a really high in hierarchy role, it's usually in the same order. So step 1 is a recruiter screen, which for the cloud roles, Srini and I will sit in it and we'll discuss some details about your experience, what you have done in the past. Srini asks a lot of technical questions, and we try to understand your technical fit and it's usually an open and casual discussion. We just try to understand more about who you are. Then step 2, as Srini mentioned, this is for the cloud engineering roles and the data engineers. It is a test where you will be asked to code, and what is important for this for you to understand in this step is what we're looking at is your learning agility, as Jared has mentioned earlier. So if you're on the call and you're stuck on a question, it is very important for us to see your thinking process and to know what you're thinking about, what you're struggling with, and we can discuss it rather than you just try to answer it. And it's completely okay if you don't know. So it is a very it's really okay to say that you don't know, and we're very open to discuss it with you and see what possible solutions we can basically come up with. And then step 3, in some jobs, so for the cloud, for the fresher cloud roles, we don't have a step 3. We move straight to offer if you pass step 2. For senior roles, we do have another step in the middle, which is a third interview, which would also be technical or functional. So and for some of the really experienced roles.
But it will not be a coding test.
Sorry,
the third one will not be a coding test. It will be just a interview.
For some roles, we actually do the coding test second. So for example, in the C++ roles, the senior C++ roles, we start with a discussion, and then the coding round would be the third step. Second. So it actually depends on what you're interviewing for and how the process is agreed on with the hiring manager. So it's a very flexible process, and if you don't have any,
but you'll have only one coding test. Don't worry about more.
Yeah. Can you expand a little? SQL part of the test will be like most of. So we do have a question, Srini. Can you expand a little on what the SQL part of the test would be like? Most of my experience working with databases has been through the Django ORM. Thanks.
No, we are not looking at Django level, like Django or Hibernate, those sorts of ORDBMS. No, we are looking at RDBMS level of queries, or DBMS level of queries, wherein you create a join. We talk about foreign keys. Not much foreign keys, but a join, join and then group by having simple, straightforward SQL queries. Yeah. So it is not. It's not. I know in Django you you write the joins in the application itself, but this is SQL, which we are talking about is ANSI SQL, pretty much. Yeah.
We have one who just applied. Michael, thank you. Thank you so much. So just I'll close with this. And so actually, we want you to get the job. So we are in the interview to help you and not to pressure you in any way possible. So my advice to you is know the job, know where you stand from it in terms of skill set, and know what you need to work on, what your learning opportunities are, and take the interview process as a chance for you to know the company and basically engage with other engineers. So that's it.
Wowzers, a whistle-stop tour indeed from start to finish. Guys, thank you all so much. I'm really, I know we're just a few minutes, there's literally 3 minutes left of everyone's time, but thank you so much for that. So just to kind of, I suppose, to remind everyone, like this sounds like a really fast process. The team in front of you here are obviously well equipped to recognize exactly what they need and make decisions quickly. And, sometimes we expect recruitment processes, they can last like months. but this is not the case here. So be as quick as Michael and get that get that application in. But do you know what? I think one of my favorite lines that you have there, Sarah, is that we want you to get the job. And, you know, sometimes that really gets lost in recruitment, that, you know, exactly. Here's a whole team, you really want new members in it. You know, you've made it very clear what it is that is going to happen and what you're looking for and the opportunity that awaits. So just don't sit in your hands, get in, get talking, and fingers crossed you'll have some Code Institute alumni with you soon. Coming back to one of these sessions again.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for having us, Jane.
Thanks for setting this up.
Yeah, not at all. And I know, look, just for anyone who had to, you know, who wants to revisit this before they put in their CV, please maybe try and get this done this weekend. Just get in. You know, the worst that can happen is that it's not now, or it's not a match, but you're never going to know until you start talking to these lovely people. So look, best of luck, everybody. This, like I said at the beginning, this has been recorded, so it's going to be up in the Careers Hub. And Sarah, look, maybe you and I will touch base next week and just see if we can help in any way with progressing the applications and seeing how everyone's getting on.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you so much. Have a fabulous weekend.
Yeah.
You too. Have
a great one.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.